Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Top 10 Show. I am John Roca.
I am Matt Nost, and thankfully this week we got a patron to select today's topic because it is weird every week to have to go, I don't know, every choice is possible, so what do you want to do type of thing.
Yeah, it's almost like you're walking into a candy store and you're like, well, what do you want to eat today? I don't know. There's so many to choose from. Well, what am I in the mood for? I don't know. You figure it out. And thankfully, our patron, one of our patrons came through with a pretty interesting topic that we've never discussed specifically on the show.
True. Charles J. Clark sent it in and was movies set before 1776. Which had to do a little research to see, this one's on the cusp, but I'm pretty sure the story ends after 1776.
Right.
And
yeah.
This one, it's hard to nail down because they never say, and it could be this time, it could be this time. I don't know. I can't say for certain.
Yeah.
There's one in particular. I was like, there's a 200-year range this could exist in. I'm not entirely sure where it lands.
Yeah. I had to go deep dive into a few websites to try to figure out time of these movies. Like first I got a list and then I looked at each one of these things and it was like, okay, where does it actually set? Do the website say in the movie? Does it say in the movie what year it's set? So I had to do all that. So it took a little bit longer to get to the top 10 that that I'm using for the list for this show. But it was worth it because first you walk in, you're like, man, are there a lot of films to choose from? And in the end, for me, there was about 20. But it was nice to explore to find out which ones I really, and there were some that could have made the list, but some that I've enjoyed that I didn't think deserved to be on the list necessarily. So there's quite a number of movies that are set before 1776. And of course, in that arbitrary year, it's a year of our independence. So here in the United States, at least. So it was fun to kind of explore all of that.
I knew there was going to be plenty of choices. So it wasn't a question of that. It became a question of like, okay, well, here are three very similar movies on some level.
Right.
They're all equally worthy, I think. And one I know hasn't ever come up on a show, but I didn't choose that one.
Okay.
Just 'cause I like this one a little bit better and I know it type of thing. But it's roughly the same. If you told me you were a bigger fan of this one, I'm not going to fight you on it. It's just like, okay, that one was more your speed, but it's kind of the same. So a number of different choices. I'm guessing we're going to have quite a few in common.
Yeah.
Because 1776 does then cut off, because we've done epics in the past. Well, shocker, anytime someone goes back into the far history, they more than likely go after an epic moment or an epic individual because we don't know shit else, really. Right,
exactly. They can be biopics or like a sliver of a time or a particular event in time. You could even have a question about whether this depiction of the event in time is a realistic depiction of what you're watching during an event in time. So those are all like the questions as I was, kind of weeding out the numbers on my end, which ones I wanted to include. And, these are our lists. And sometimes, when you get a topic this broad, it really comes down to what you want to put on the list for real, and so that's in the end, I think that's what we kind of settled on.
Technically, I don't think it really comes up all that much, but the historical accuracy, because it was set before, it didn't say it had to be historically accurate as set before.
Right.
Although I don't think I have anything that's like complete. Well, yeah, I do.
I have one for sure.
Yeah, that didn't bother me. It really just came down to how good are these movies, because I wanted to sneak on. My number 10 originally was something utterly different, and I completely forgot about one, and it bumped it off.
I know that was kind of tough too.
Yeah. I go through and I wrote down my initial list, and then some of my new easy. I know that's set well before 1776. That's easy.
Right.
But it was the others having to search through, like you mentioned before, and really pin down where exactly and more precisely when exactly did this happen, or is it supposed to have happened or set. So there were some tough cuts just because you couldn't. You knew it violated that tenet of, well, this movie is entirely set before, or not being able to pin down. But it's an interesting one.
Yeah, to say the least, for sure. Yeah.
It's different than, a lot of what we've been doing as of late. So that's, I think, why we gravitated towards it.
Yeah. And for those of you who are patrons of the show, we do our shout outs on this particular episode. So stay tuned for that after the show is done. And also, Matt, we should announce, right? We should talk about the show we have coming for the patrons, shouldn't we?
Yes, we should.
Okay.
Why, shit, I wanted to talk to you beforehand,
Oh.
about a release date. And now, because that's what the whole point, we'd be promoting the release. This is when it's coming.
Well, we should just mention that we've got a new show coming. The patrons are going to participate in this. It's essentially a Jeopardy style tournament, 3 contestants at a time, and there's a lot of patrons who are participating. So this will be the replacement for what we'd had before, which was the top 10 list that you guys would send in the relist. This is what we're replacing it with. We feel this is more interactive, more fun for us to do. And look, we're not trying to copy anybody or take anybody's ideas. We're just having fun with our patrons with a fun contest here called the Golden Ticket. I should bring up the graphic now. There it is, the Golden Ticket. So look for that. It's going to be coming up soon. There's going to be an episode. We're planning to have one episode every week, at least one episode every week. And Matt and I will be hosting it and making the decisions and contestants, and then they'll advance to a next round, and then we'll have another round of that. So it's got some Jeopardy elements to it, but also our own kind of ideas for it as well.
Should be a lot of fun. And so many people signed up that there's going to be plenty of shows coming down the pike.
Yeah.
And it's been a lot of work on the back end, but we hope you guys enjoy. We've got that graphic. We've got a nice intro and outro song.
Yeah.
We've got a great guy, Blair Simpson, helping us on the back end, and hopefully keeping score for all the different games. But he's going to be there for the first few for sure.
Yeah,
and bringing in 3 new patrons every week that supported us, that got in by the deadline.
Yep.
And they're going to be fighting it out, baby, fighting to the death to see who gets to be on the show. Plus, pick the topic for that show. That's your reward for managing to make it through the gauntlet of all these individuals. Whoever is king of the hill. Well, we look forward to having you on the show. Exactly. And whatever topic you may choose. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're both really excited. And have that in the very, very near future for you guys. Yeah.
It's going to be fun. And do you want to give a shout out to the person who made the music for the show, or do you want to wait on that one?
Sure. Yeah. There's no point in not announcing who sent it. So Brian Ward was kind enough to do the graphics for us.
Yes.
And thank you, Mr. Ward. And Andy Merriweather, a guy that's saw us in London and Chicago and bought tickets for London again.
Mm-hmm.
And, great guy, a musician in his own right. I believe he's written his own play, his own musical.
Wow.
And he mocked up, sent an idea and came back lickety-split. And he's like, okay, here's my rough, idea of what it is. And you're like, that's fantastic. We can't wait. This is awesome. Yeah, we hope everybody enjoys it because, I think it's my favorite part of the new show.
The song is?
Yeah. Just because it's fun and it's different.
Oh, it's great. Absolutely agree with you. Absolutely agree with you.
And it's a one-off for this show. It's very show specific. We'll never use this again.
Yeah. Agreed.
Andy, thank you so much. It just banged it out, no problem. And had great ideas. It was really collaborative and a lot of fun. And Brian Ward, that's an amazing graphic, and all the people that have helped us write questions, and on the back end, it's been a tremendous amount of work to get to we're at the precipice of rolling this out for you guys. So we hope you enjoy it, because a lot of time and effort has gone into this from so many different people.
Yeah.
That, it'd be nice if you enjoyed it as much as we've enjoyed making it.
So, enjoy it, you little bastards. Enjoy what we're creating for you, basically.
Well, it's not going away anytime soon. That's
for sure. Holy,
this is a hell of a tournament.
It is not.
A lot of people signed up for this. And we have already had 6 or 7 opt out just because they have time commitments and it's going to conflict. And they're just like, it's unfortunate. I signed up to do it, but now I just can't. So I'm going to enjoy from afar. And even with the 6 or 7 taking off, we still have a lot of people that signed up for this. So we hope you like it, because it's going to be in your life for a while. Yeah, it's going to be in your world for a bit. Absolutely. Yeah. I'm trying to see if I probably can't. Yeah, maybe. Give me a second. I was trying to see if I can put this thing together and give people a taste of what it's going to be. What do you mean, the intro? Yeah, the intro. If we can, and get people excited about the song, give Merriweather a little bit of a highlight on the. Oh, I'm fine with that. Higher end show. Let me see if I can. So if you can mock it up. So in essence. Sorry, go ahead, Mike. It's tailored to go around. It's obviously the Golden Ticket. That is the inspiration leading into writing the lyrics. Yeah. So it ties into that. It ties into the machinations of the game and the people involved. It's really quick. You're in and out in 40 seconds with piano intro and outro for like a second or two apiece.
Okay.
So it's not that long. We hope you like it as much as we do. You got it. You got it dialed in.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's see if it plays.
Thank you for being a fan. The golden ticket is your plan. You want a guest, now you've got to win it all. And it's our way of saying a big thank you to the patrons for playing. Boss Hog and Tim Strong, fight to the death. You will be the last one left. Thank you for being a fan. The top 10 presents the golden ticket.
That's pretty fantastic there, Matt Nost.
It is. And if I'm not mistaken, when Andy comes in with the top 10 presents the golden ticket, there is a little bit of auto tune on that. That's what it sounds like. It's the only part. The rest of it sounds like his, bare, stripped down voice.
Yeah.
It's hauntingly beautiful.
The lyrics are incredible. Andy, Matt sent it to me, and he wouldn't let me listen to it until he could watch me listen to it.
Yeah.
And I had a stupid grin on my face because I thought the lyrics were brilliant. I thought using that particular song as a basis.
It's the perfect get your head golden.
Yeah.
Thank you for being a fan. Just writing those lyrics and then sending them to Andy, and then he'd send back. He's like, what do you think about changing this, and this? And I was like, oh, okay, that's great. It was just a real collaborative fun.
Yeah.
And it's nice to interact with people that enjoy movies and are, he's on the other side of the world, and we've met through this show. All three of us have. Yeah. And it was fun. It was interesting and creative, and something I've only done that a couple times, but not to have that full, because he was like, if I have the time, I'm going to do. He wanted to do like a big, huge orchestrated one and add in all these pieces. But my guess is he got busy and he was already doing us a favor. So he, bit off more than he could chew. But I never pressed him on it. So I was like, dude, if you want to do that, go right ahead. But in no way am I asking for a gong. Right. That's why he had a gong. He's like, I got a gong version in my head. I was like, if you want to do it, I'd love to hear it. But in no way am I asking you to do that, because you're already going to sit down and run it through your studio and put in time and effort that you get paid for elsewhere. You're doing for free for us.
Right.
I appreciate that, just because you're a fan and you enjoyed it and it sounded like fun to you.
Yeah.
And good dude. And thank you so much to Andy and to Brian and Blair for helping us out so much so far with the show overall, and everybody that's written questions.
Yeah.
It's going to be a lot of fun. And you want to jump right in?
Yeah, let's do it. You want to tell them how the show works?
Yes. Once Mr. Charles J. Clark set the topic, we went our individual ways and created personal top 10 lists. Showed back up here. I do my bottom three. He does his bottom three. I do my next two. He does his next two. Then we trade one apiece. Once we have revealed our personal top 10 list, we create the shows between the two of us.
Boom.
All right. So I am going to go ahead and jump right in at 10. I've got Kingdom of Heaven, specifically the director's cut.
Wow. Okay. Knock yourself out.
It's much better. It fleshes out. I've never seen, that I can recall, a good movie about the Crusades.
Okay.
And it's such a fascinating moment to me within, world history.
Yeah.
And this idea of numerous people, hundreds of thousands of people fighting and dying over this tiny little stretch of land.
Yeah.
And the fact that it just went on for so long, and you're sending massive armies from 500 miles away, 700 miles away, just so far away, traveling all this great distance to capture a piece of land that they've never seen. They have no connection to. Yeah. It just plays a pivotal role within their religious life, and it does for several religions. Mm-hmm. So I know that the initial release, no one was really a big fan of. Okay. But the director's cut spends more time and develops the story. I mean, it's a slow movie by and large, I think, overall. If you're expecting huge upon huge, kind of rolling one after the other, you're not going to get it. Yeah. Because you do have to understand a little bit of the nuance of the politics of the situation and why factions are warring. And I don't know. I think they did as good a job you can do. I think it's a Ridley Scott.
Yes, it is.
because it's a tough story to do. Just like Alexander didn't make my list. That's a nearly impossible movie to do to me.
Yeah, that's a
to
tough
do
one.
the arc. It is just the guy was larger than life.
Yeah.
And he also traveled with people that wrote down his story, so that's why it looms so large all these years later. Is because there were so many different accounts. He had PR people in essence with him to spread the myth and legend of Alexander. But I mean, he was backing it up. He was crushing people.
He was crushing it, man.
He was. I mean, he inherited his army, so he did have an advantage, but simultaneously, he managed to take them to heights by the age of like 28 that are amazing, utterly amazing, especially in the context of that time.
Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, so Kingdom of Heaven, to be so far removed, and I've read a book or two on it, but it hasn't captured my imagination as other aspects of history have. But I know some of the story, and to see it come to life, anytime something like that, where I've read about, have a cursory understanding of, to see it come to life, and it seems kind of honest and true, I will enjoy more than likely than the average person.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I've seen it. I only saw the original cut, and I was like bored out of my mind with it. And I know that people love the director's cut. Say it's a richer film when you watch the director's cut. So I have to create space for that for myself personally. But I will eventually at some point watch this thing. But that's why I didn't even remotely be considered for my list, because I did not like that original cut of the film, and I've yet to make my way to the director's cut. So I take your word for it, man. What's your
I would say go into it with an open mind type of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I never go in wanting to hate a movie. I may go in skeptical about a movie, but I never go in wanting to hate a movie. So I would look forward to it as well.
Well, I'm just saying, like, because sometimes it feels like work. Don't
go
into
right. A chore.
Yeah. That's when you're just gonna be like, it was fine.
It did its job.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So my number 9 is a newer movie.
Okay.
Which is The King with Chalamet.
Oh man, that was such a close cut. I mean, I was like on the fence about that, so I'm glad you put it on your list, man, because I love that movie. I just couldn't put it above these other ones, man. And maybe in 5 years I can. Maybe in 5 years I will. There's something about it being recent that made me hesitate. But go ahead, man. Go ahead.
It suffered from the fact that it came out on Netflix, because had it come out in the theater, there would have been more Oscar buzz around it.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
I don't know that it would have been nominated, but it would have been elevated in the conversation. And Chalamet's already gotten there. Like, he will win one more than likely in the next 5 to 7 years.
Yep.
He's already done a body of work that's really heavy, and Oscar voters love it. The Call Me by Your Name, and then what was the one with Steve Carell?
Oh yeah, Beautiful Boy.
Yeah. Like, he's done heavier shit that's been pulled off and gotten a lot of buzz about it.
Absolutely.
So he'll be fine. But it was, what I think really cements it is it's the latter half of, so Falstaff seeing his progression, but then having to go out, like redeeming Falstaff in a believable and honest way. The look on his face when he knows that is the decision that has to be made, Chalamet, the king. And this is the one guy that's kind of been his friend. And is it his ruthlessness to rule, just his want of power, or is it actually the liberation and freedom of his people that he believes in? Like, what are his motivations? And you can see him kind of work through that in his mind. And it's a great little plan of, the little Sun Tzu, the Art of War type of thing. Play, make their strength a weakness, so they have the advantage in numbers and whatnot. Let's make the ground muddy and level this playing field, and we'll go light on our armor to attack them. But that, coupled with when the woman that he is betrothed to, that French princess,
Catherine,
and she's that all of this is illegitimate, and you're full of shit. You're like, yeah, she's not wrong.
No, it's true. I mean, stripping Henry V down to the actual events that happened, I thought was a brilliant idea, because Henry V is a fantastic story on its own, but Shakespeare took liberties because he wrote this right when they were in the middle of a war so that England could be roused by the play. So, and of course, Queen Elizabeth was like, you better write a play that's pretty awesome about England. And so, but stripping it, but stripping it down, because that's why Olivier did his version in the middle of World War II, because he wanted to rouse the English to in the battle against the Nazis. So it's like that kind of he was like carrying on that legacy, right? Branagh just did his in '89 for no reason, unless the Falkland Islands was a real thing.
Wow.
But
I mean, Olivier's is born out of hubris, as is Kenneth Branagh's even more so. But Olivier's like, you know what can lift us to beat the Nazis if I do this for film. It will so inspire our soldiers and be like, all right, Larry, buddy.
Pally.
That, and then when he figures out that the Machiavellian character that has been pulling the strings of what he actually is, dude, that is the look on the guy's face is a great actor. When
he puts him on the box and he's having him put his arms out, you're like, oh,
but he's standing up there getting tailored, and you can see him wheels in his head of oh fuck. What? No, hey, look, you got what you wanted, right? I was helping you type of, but there's still a trying to pass off confidence. It just, I think that final act really cemented my enjoyment of it. And plus, it's another week where there's a lot of choices. So let's talk about a new movie that we haven't talked about much.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I loved it. And if you guys haven't watched it on Netflix, do yourselves a favor and watch it. It's so, so good. And Joel Edgerton is a fantastic Falstaff. Falstaff that you are not used to seeing in films. Usually you see him as a rotund, stumbling fool. But if you're going to strip out the truth and show, if you're going to strip out the fantastical from the play and show the truth of what happened, you also have to show who Falstaff actually was. Falstaff was not necessarily a person who didn't understand what was happening or a rotund idiot. He's actually more than just that. I'm just not an idiot, but certainly he got into some trouble and what have you.
Hey, he was a drunk.
Yeah, exactly. But in this one, it's a more powerful performance from Edgerton for sure. All right. So what's your number 8?
My 8 is The Prince of Egypt.
Okay, that's my number 9. So perfect. There we go. Let's talk about it.
This is the one that I brought up. It was like, there's 3 to me vying for this.
Yeah.
If you want to go back, I only chose one animated.
Yeah, me too. Only one. Even though I wanted to choose 2 more, I had to be like, no, let's be real. Which
what were your other 2?
Well, Hercules could qualify, and I think Tarzan possibly could qualify, but I'm not sure when Tarzan's set.
There's no way that's before 1776.
Yeah, you don't think so?
There's visualizing her wardrobe alone sets it in the mid 1800s.
Maybe
it does. That's Victorian England that they came from, not colonial era America.
Okay. 1912. Son of a bitch. All right. Takes place around 1912.
Or perhaps then Edwardian or whatever it is at that point.
Yeah, 1890 to 1912. All right, fine. So either way, wouldn't have been able to put it on the list either way. So
my third one was Road to El Dorado.
Oh yeah, that's a cool one.
It's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, isn't that who's that? Is that Kevin Kline
Kevin Kline and Kenneth Branagh?
Yeah, good stuff. Those two.
Yeah, but Prince of Egypt is even if you don't believe in the story, you don't feel it's true.
Yeah,
it's still engaging. Throughout the animated visuals, like when the parting of the Red Sea and you can see the whale going through as the lightning is going off, illuminating the water. It's beautiful. It is beautiful to see that aspect of the story come to life, just like it is anytime, like a comic book movie. Oh, I read that on the page. Are they going to be able to pull that off? Not saying that one is directly equivalent to the other, or any book rather. And the friendship between Moses and Ramesses the second, which is Ralph Fiennes and Val Kilmer. Yeah, Val Kilmer probably at his height of book and movies.
Yes, I would say so. I mean, Batman is around this time as well. So
I think it's a little before
in the 90s.
And a great cast. Beyond that,
Pfeiffer, Bullock, Jeff Goldblum,
Steve Martin, and Martin Short.
Yeah.
And if you like history, then you at the very least have the Egyptians.
Yeah.
So there's that aspect of it.
Well, there's a surprisingly, how would I say this? It's a surprisingly moving story between these two brothers that's tragic. Like in 10 Commandments, it's Yul Brynner and Charlton Heston, and Yul's constantly jealous of Charlton Heston. So you don't sense that there's a real relationship here. But when you watch Prince of Egypt, the acting work, voiceover wise, between Ray Fiennes and Val Kilmer, you can tell there's a genuine love and affection between them as brothers. Yeah, does he feel a little bit jealous that that Moses is kind of the favorite, a little bit of the favorite? Yes, because he has to lure him into these, kind of rule-breaking scenarios. Ramses does, because Ramses is it's Egyptian privilege. He's a king's son. He's Egyptian privilege.
Oh no,
And
he is the next god in line.
Exactly. So he's got privilege coming out of his pores, and he takes advantage of it.
He knows nothing but the world doesn't exist, doesn't make sense to him outside of that incredible privilege. I mean,
right.
You are a living god of hands down the world's most advanced and powerful civilization.
Right.
And it's wealthiest. Egyptian dynasties went on for a millennia.
Yeah.
It's utterly, amazing to me how long that they were at the height of their power, because it doesn't seem like that long. And then you look at how many different, they have eras of dynasties,
right? And
then Middle Kingdom and Southern Kingdom. And just like, it's utterly ridiculous how long it went on for. Yeah. So to be born into that world where it doesn't matter, I can kill anybody I want to. I can do whatever I want to.
Right.
I want nothing.
Which is what he says later on, right? He says, if I tell the Egyptians it's night when the sun is out, they will say it's day for night or night for day. I can do that. I can change this. After Moses kills that guy who was whipping the older slave, he knows I can change all this. I can do it. But like Moses, and this, once again, great performance from Kilmer. The soulful performance in his voice is what's there. And Ray Fiennes screaming for Moses as he runs away in the middle of the movie to go find out his true heritage is very heartbreaking. And then at the end, when they have the same kind of exchange, but which they bring back full circle, have him yell about Moses from across the sea after the Red Sea is crashed back together again. You're just like, man. So it's real tragic. It's real tragic and real pain between these two. And I love that about the movie, because I think if that wasn't there, the movie wouldn't be as special as it is to me. And it's essential to have that.
Yeah. And weirdly, if you recast the two of them, I don't think the movie works.
That's a great point.
Near as it's one of those, it's kind of like Tim Allen as Buzz.
Right.
If you waited 3 years to make that first Toy Story, Tim Allen probably does not get that booking.
Yeah. And doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
Right.
I mean, I'm sure it'd still be good, but it's the juxtaposition of their two different voices and the characters that they're bringing to life that is the initial energy and spark of that movie, just like it is in this.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's just that kind of low, calm, soulful nature of Val Kilmer's voice, performance in this.
And I love that he voiced over God as well. That was perfect. Classic Kilmer. I'll do it, but I got to do God. I got to do the voice of God.
Well, he's the son of God, so standard reason that God would have his voice as well.
Wait, who's the son of God? Moses is the son of God.
Yeah, you're right. I just screwed that up and was hoping we could dance right past that.
No way. We get so much email if we do.
Well, perhaps you hear the voice of God, as some people do, as their own. Because,
right. Of course. Oh no, I get the logic behind it. I just also know that Val Kilmer probably put in his negotiation, and I'm going to be the voice of God as well. And they're like, all right, fine, Val. All right. So that's your 8.
That's my 8. So what do you got at 10?
So my 10 is Apocalypto.
Oh, that's a punt. Really?
Okay.
10?
Yeah. 9 was Prince of Egypt. 8? Oh, you're going to hate me. 8 is 300. I love 300.
Go for
it. What's that?
Said go for it.
Yeah. Absolutely love this film. Still come back and watch it all the time. We just recently did it for the Cinephiles, breaking this thing down and having a blast, exploring the madness of this movie. Gerard Butler, what's his name? Michael Fassbender's in this thing. David Wenham. You have so many people involved in this, and it's just one of those films that for whatever reason I always go back to and let myself get caught up in. Zack Snyder does a fantastic job directing this one. The adaptation of the Frank Miller comic book or graphic novel, which of course is based on the real battle. And please do not go to this movie and think it has any remote historical accuracy. But other than the names, King Leonidas was the real king at that time.
Yeah, and Xerxes was.
Right.
I think the liberties it takes, though, on some level, really help kind of give you the scope of what this means in history. Like to see Xerxes' army, it was unquestionably this monolithic force that was coming to crush you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the idea of 300 guys standing up to them at that pass
Right.
to try and head them off. Like that's a tale that lives on to this day.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to build this overly stylistic. I think on some level, it really benefits the overall to make it over the top and pulp like.
I don't think he's ever had. How can I say this correctly? I don't think Zach's ever shot anything as visually arresting as this movie is.
No.
The shots of those guys getting pushed off the cliff with the sunlight behind them is incredible. The shots of the ships getting destroyed by the storm and the lightning while the rain is pelting them on their shields and they're screaming their heads off. Phenomenal. The shots of the human beings pinned to the trees and the branches when they've destroyed that entire town. That's overwhelming. Like there's so many great images. He uses slow motion perfectly throughout the movie. The score itself, the thumping score that comes in, the narration throughout the whole movie works so well. And all of it is just like, yeah, I know people can go, oh, it's a very, masculine movie. Yeah. And that's what I like about it, and it's okay to be masculine, and it's okay to have that in a film as long as you're not, making everyone else feel stupid about it. They believe what they believe. They're warriors and they have a code and they follow that code to the end. And in the end, what happens to them, but it's so enjoyable to watch. And Lena Headey is a very strong female character to put in there. And they give her moments to be like, I am as equal as Leonidas. And it's great to see that when she gets her revenge on Dominic West's character. And also when she has her moment with him, when she says like, you do as a king would do as a free man, think as a free man. So there's a lot within the film. People want to dismiss it. And I think there's a lot here to enjoy in this movie.
They get a lot of the essence of who the Spartans were across in a short amount of time.
Yeah.
Is it hyper stylized? Yes, but
sure.
The Spartans were kind of known to be like this.
Yeah.
And, we could go into that all day long. It has nothing to do with the movie itself, but
right.
I just wish I went back to see it more often. I think that overall, Zack Snyder's never really been my cup of tea.
Yeah, that's fair, dude. I know he's not everybody's cup of tea.
It's that and Watchmen, really, but I don't really see all that either all that often. I like them, but I just don't.
Well, Watchmen is more. How can I say this? If you watch the director's cut of Watchmen, it's better than the original. Kind of like what you said about the other one,
Kingdom of Heaven.
So yeah.
I agree with that, but it's also another one that's going to be 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And if I'm not 100% on board, it's just like, oh, I've seen it. I can move on.
It is 3 hours long. You're right about that. It certainly is that. So that'd be the situation. All right. So that was my 8. What is your next one? What's your 7?
My 7 is Spartacus.
Let me check my list here. That's no, that was a cut. I had to cut Spartacus. I hated that I had to do it, but I cut it. So please take it away, my friend.
Once again, another movie bringing to life.
Listen to the reverence of you. What's
the second Servile War, where it's amazing that it didn't happen more often. I believe there were 3, but where all the slaves went, hey, there's a lot of us.
There's more of us than them.
There's a lot more of us. What are they going to do? Stab me? It's not like they can pick me off with a gun. The best they're going to have is one of those gladiatorial tridents. Beyond that, like bow and arrow, and depending on what era of Roman history, you can have ballistas on top of that, but you don't really fire that at people. Anyway, it's not like it's a gun.
Right.
So for people to rise up and for one of those individuals' names to have now echoed through the centuries afterwards, is had a resonance because it's another side of the Roman story that doesn't get is talked about, as frequently. Plus, then you have Kubrick, you got Kirk Douglas at the height of it, and then when you know the backstory of what it took to get this made, like by bringing on Trumbo, a black listed writer, but knowing Douglas did, that he was the one pushing the hardest for this, that he had to write this. He's the best writer in town. He can pull this off. This, where was this in Kubrick's? Is this like his third?
It's like
Paths of Glory.
Yeah, I think this is like his second
or third. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he had worked with Douglas before. So And I want to say that was the other thing where Douglas was kind of pulling Kubrick with him, being like, this is the dude that's going to direct it. This is the dude that's writing it. I don't care. You can't change my mind. And he had such force and presence that he pulled that off. That's really impressive.
Yeah.
Just the will.
He had done a film called Fear and Desire, which is about an hour long film. Then he did Killer's Kiss.
I've never seen it. Which
is an hour and 17-minute film. And then The Killing, which is the one that really announced him there, where they tried to do a racetrack robbery with Sterling Hayden, the guy from The Godfather who plays the corrupt police guy. Then Paths of Glory, then Spartacus. So certainly it was on the early end of his career, but it was just when he was about to hit his stride, because Lolita's after this, Dr. Strangelove is after this, and Space Odyssey. Those are his next 3-4 films, and then Clockwork Orange, Barry. So he's about to go on a run, basically.
Yeah, an all-time run.
Yeah, all-time run. Absolutely.
Yeah, even if one of those that everybody loves isn't your favorite, he's got at least one, maybe two that you think is just a classic.
Right. And the thing with this movie is they started shooting with another director. Like I think Arthur Mann is the other director. And halfway through or a quarter of the way through, Douglas and him just weren't getting along. So Douglas went, and Doug's a producer of this thing. He went to Kubrick and he said, I want you to do this film, blah, blah, blah. And he's for a studio. And Kubrick said, okay, but but I start Monday morning. I don't want to wait a week or two, blah, blah, blah. I start Monday morning. So you're going to fire him. You got to fire him over the weekend and slide me in there. And that's what happened. He ended up having that conversation with him, slid him in there. They replaced one of the actors. They replaced a German actress who was playing the woman who he has the relationship with. Yeah. And they replaced her with another actress. And then they had, I think, but him and Kubrick did have battles throughout the making of the movie to try to get it right. Yeah, exactly. They're both strong-headed guys. And in the end, Kubrick said, I'll never do a movie like this again because the studio had too much say over it. From now on, it will be. So the lesson was learned, but he still was able to produce a pretty classic film, or a classic film, not a pretty classic, a classic film that a lot of people revere and enjoy. And it's tough to cut it, man. I had to go well, how many times do I really go back and watch it? That was the only reason, not because I don't think it's a great film. That's the only reason. Yeah.
It makes my list because, weird as it is, there aren't too many excellent movies about Roman history.
Yeah, I know. Lindley feels the same. Look, Lindley is, I think Lindley's the same way with you about Roman history. She refuses to watch anything that isn't like tone accurate or as accurate as possible.
It's rare.
For her, it's really tough to watch any of these films because she likes that period of time so much that she takes it as an offense if it's not accurate to what she remembers or knows about.
It's just disheartening. They had so many huge characters that you could do a movie about. Caesar obviously is the first one that everybody thinks about, but Pompey before him, and you've got Caligula and Nero and Tiberius, and it is nonstop. Hadrian and building Hadrian's Wall, but Pompey alone managed to crush all the pirates in the Mediterranean. That's where he got his wealth. That's a hell of a movie in and of itself. And we'll never see it because most people don't know who Pompey is. Right. And it's not a Julius Caesar. It's not a Caligula, Nero. Yeah. But if a couple of them would be successful, then you could roll out others. And it's just, it's unfortunate. So it also gets lifted up a little bit and be like, I wish I could do a list of 10 legitimately. There just aren't for me.
Right.
Anyway, so that's my 7.
Okay.
My 6 is Last of the Mohicans.
That is a punt. Slight punt, but still a punt.
Easy peasy.
All right. My number 7 is Excalibur.
Not on my list.
Now, does that count? I feel like that counts because it's based on a true story. It's set.
Doesn't matter. It's set before 1776.
Okay. All right. I just wanted to make sure I was willing to move Spartacus up to 10 because that was my last cut. Okay, well, Excalibur is one of my, what can I tell you? John Borman, that score, everybody who's in the film, the story they tell, it's the best King Arthur story, in my opinion. I know people love Sword in the Stone, but this is the one that does it for me. I love the performances. Nicole Williamson as Merlin, Liam Neeson's in this thing. Helen Mirren's in this thing. I forget the actor who plays King Arthur. He's fantastic. Patrick Stewart. Guinevere is great. Lancelot is great. The story and the way they age this guy from a page, a young, cherub-faced page, into the downtrodden old Arthur is incredible, and you go with it the whole time. And Borman does such a great. Gabriel Byrne's in this thing, such a great job bringing you into the world of this movie and making it interesting and funny and also tragic. And the stakes are all there throughout the whole movie. And yes, they're all talking in that elevated kind of thing. I saw what I saw, but like Merlin is the guy that's like, oh, you need to be aware of this or you need to be aware of that. So there is the undercurrent of it of a more grounded movie going on, while these other more pronounced characters are like playing above what's actually happening. What's really happening below is so good. So that's why the movie still appeals, still works for me. I'll flip through the channels and watch it. If I catch it on, I'll watch and enjoy it. It's so good. It still works.
Yeah, I included one Arthurian era movie type of thing. So Sword in the Stone was a tough cut, but I was like, I already have one that's in the same ballpark, so I'm going to go with that one.
I kind of expected it to be on your list, so to hear that it's cut, I'm sure it must have been difficult for you to cut that one. I know
I wanted to kind of spread it around, have a bunch of different movies.
Of course.
So we're talking about different stuff.
Yeah. All right, then my number 6 is Branagh's, as we mentioned earlier, Branagh's Henry V. That's a goddamn good movie, man. 1989, I remember being a 19-year-old kid or 18-year-old kid and hearing that this movie was coming out and seeing the trailer. And this is at the time when I was becoming a massive fan. Well, I'd been a fan of Shakespeare since I was like 10 or 12 years old. Like not in any way bragging. I think like I'd watch it on PBS. I'm like, there's something here that I enjoy. I can't understand a word they're fucking saying, but for whatever reason, I'm enjoying it, And then through high school, trying to figure out Shakespeare, trying to understand the language, the iambic pentameter, all of it, it really kind of got to me in my head. So eventually, when I saw this trailer, I was like, what? They're doing a movie on Henry V. This is exciting. And I remember driving myself down to DC to watch it by myself in the theater because no one I knew was going to come with me to go see Henry V. So at the time, I drove down there and watched it by myself. And I was blown away, man. And if I could have bought a ticket, if I thought to even buy a ticket to see a second show, I would have stayed and watched the second showing of the movie because it just works so well. Branagh does such an excellent job. He makes Henry such a character you want to cheer for. And he adds this element of Henry struggling with this kind of physical malady that I had not seen or heard being used before in a performance of Henry V. Even the King doesn't really use any of that as well, or Olivier's Henry V doesn't use any of that. This is something Branagh added to kind of show the element that he was breaking out. He was having to fight his own body as well as the odds, and there's shades of 300 in this with the Agincourt situation, 100 men or 1,000 men versus 10,000 French. It was insane to think about. And the dialogue works so well. The way he moves stuff around, the way he brought in stuff from Henry IV, part 2, I think works really well with Falstaff and Pistol and Bardolph and Nym. All of that really works. And the pace of the film is just boom, 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 boom. And even the Catherine stuff with Emma Thompson is great. Paul Scofield as the French king is good. Everything just all around works so well for me, man. And the score too. The score is fantastic from Patrick Doyle. Oh, did I lose you?
No, I hit my cord. My one of my earphones.
Oh, okay, cool.
Popped out. Okay, so that was your number 6.
Yeah, you've never seen it. It's not your cup of tea.
I mean, I have. I don't think I've seen the whole thing.
Okay, all right, fair.
I'm not against it. It was good, but it's kind of rare when I get sucked into a Shakespearean movie.
Understood. It's funny because you like the Roman stuff, but Shakespeare you can't quite get into.
Well, but there are other Shakespeare's like Much Ado. I think is great, and I could watch that right now. I have zero problem with it. And trying to think what else. I think there's one more.
Much Ado could have qualified, right? Because that seems to be before 1776.
I think it's right. I'm not sure. Yes, it does seem, but it seems like considering they're mostly still with swords, I don't remember seeing any guns. They'd put it squarely before 1776.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, what do we do here?
Well, now we take a quick break and hear this word from our sponsors.
Yeah. And for those of you watching us, you get to listen to the something like this. There you go. There you go. That's the outro for the show as well. So now we've got that going on here in the in the StreamYard.
That's technically the scrapped outro.
Oh, is it?
Because of
is there a new outro you sent me?
I believe I sent it this morning, but if not, I can send it to you right now.
Yeah, please do. I mean, I don't think I've got a new one, but I'll take a look real quick.
I might have just saved it in draft.
No, I just have the email from which has the intro and outro from Wednesday. So yeah, feel free to send me the new one, and I'll redo it for the shows when we're going to record them.
Yep. Sent.
All right, cool. All right. So we're jumping into what, your number 5 now?
My 5 is the punt from you earlier, Apocalypto.
Okay, bring it. Bring it.
Wow, you're 10?
Yeah, man, 10.
I just think it's one. So it creeps above because I think I'm going to watch that one more often than everything below on this list. The King might creep up and overtake it.
Okay.
But at this point, like, I know Last of the Mohicans. I can check in with that every once and again, but I think I just go to my favorite scenes at this point.
Okay.
And Spartacus is roughly the same, whatnot. Whereas with Apocalypto, I will still start it at the beginning and see the slow progression of this small little tribe that has to deal with this sudden new invading force that then has to deal with a sudden new invading force.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. The build, is the best, the best where he thinks on some level that he is finished.
Yeah.
And just the simple picture of a Spanish galleon off in the distance. Like, did you have no idea what's coming?
Yep.
You literally cannot fathom what is about to happen to you and your entire civilization.
Yeah.
And the whole build up to that was bananas. Human sacrifice when the guys are running through the field and there's all those soldiers and they're just like firing arrows. It's a game to them.
Yep.
And they have to chase him down and over. I mean, it's you don't speak the language. So it's subtitled when it is subtitled.
Yep.
But you don't care because you can identify with all these different characters just through their emotions and physicality and how the scenes progress. Mel did an amazing job of putting together a movie that nobody really knew anything about.
Yeah. I don't disagree with you. It is an incredible adventure film. Like, incredible. It's nonstop. You sense the stakes the whole time. The villain they've chosen is scary as fuck. And you think to yourself, like, how is this, younger, spindly little guy gonna be able to avoid this? And somehow he seems to find a way constantly, no matter what situation he's thrown into, he seems to find a way out. He seems to find a way to troubleshoot the situation and get the best of the villain. And just like you said, Matt, just when you're ready, which I thought was brilliant by Gibson. And look, I know people might have a personal issue with Gibson, and I totally respect that. But we're looking at the film. And it's brilliant by Gibson, like you said, that we are just like out of breath by the time that movie is about to end. And just when we think it's okay for this guy and his family, he looks out and he sees, like you said, the Spanish galleon. And you're like, oh, shit. And that's how the movie ends. But it's a ballsy ending, man.
But to him, it's a fascination. What is that? Like, I've never seen anything like that. Is that a god?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know how to calibrate and wrap my mind around what I'm currently looking at.
Right.
But it's but yeah, once again, it sucks that Mel is slowly devolving into what he's becoming, because it makes it more and more difficult.
It does, doesn't it?
On some level.
Yeah.
It's easier when he's directing.
Right.
It is, because you're not constantly reminded of having to ask that question of yourself. Right. Should I be enjoying this? Which he hasn't reached the tipping point for me yet. And that perhaps that makes me a shitty human being. I can't fight you if you feel that way.
Yeah.
I'm
in the same boat,
others, it's easier.
I'll still watch Lethal Weapon. God forgive me.
Yep.
And I get it.
And
I
love it.
And love it. Yeah, exactly. And love his performance.
Lethal Weapon 2.
I just
love it.
Yeah.
It's still, he's still got a few. Yeah.
Yeah.
Beyond Thunderdome. Love it.
Yeah, the Mad Max movies, Road Warrior. I mean,
Yeah, Road Warrior, love
it's
it.
tough, you know. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely respect people feeling the way they feel about him and offended by the words he said. Certainly, they aren't easy to defend, nor should anyone try to defend them. To be honest,
they're indefensible.
Yeah, they're indefensible, absolutely. But
he's just been such a part of our lives for 3 decades that it's hard to. Now, it's not like Bill Cosby was just like, this is a no-brainer.
Oh yeah, that was a no-brainer. Like if Mel did that shit,
yeah.
Not even a question.
Bill had been talking down to everybody for 20 years. So it's easier to be like, man, fuck you. Whereas Mel didn't have that. When he went off the deep end or went into the deep end, he went. It was sudden. Yeah. Just jumped off the cliff and you're like, holy shit, has he always been like this?
Right. Have we just missed it the whole time?
Yeah. Or was like his wife before they got divorced, like keeping him in check and whatnot. And then once he lost that governor, he was just allowed to go as fast as he wanted to. And so that's not healthy, apparently. No. I don't know. It sucks, but that's my 5. What do you got?
Okay, my 5 is Ben-Hur.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's a best picture, not just because it's a best picture, but because
I got to use the restroom real quick. So please.
Okay. Yeah, I will go on. It's because I love the film. I mean, it's been around. Obviously, it's been around for quite some time, a number of decades. Every time it comes out in a new format, I go and watch it in the theaters here in Los Angeles or enjoy it at home. The special, I think 50th anniversary one has like Charlton Heston's diary, which you can read and get into and get some knowledge about the movie and his experiences making the film, working with the director, with I think William Wyler, who directed it. All of that is there for you to enjoy throughout with Ben-Hur. Plus, the story itself is so epic, and it's about this guy who is like initially a prince of Judea, prince of Judea, and he is he wants to his old friend is coming back, Masala, who is a Roman kind of a person who's moved up the ranks of the Roman army, and he's in this situation, and he wants Judah Ben-Hur, that's Charlton Heston's character, to give him information on the Jewish people who are causing issues with the Romans, who are leading protests, who don't like what's happening. He wants him to essentially be a stool pigeon for him. And this is what ends up becoming the crux of the movie. This idea of like Ben-Hur not wanting to give in to this request from Masala to turn on his people, and the journey he goes on from galley slave to becoming kind of almost a conqueror of Rome in a way, but when he's adopted, to going back and confronting Masala, fighting him in the chariot race, and then of course finding out what happens to his mom, and then also Jesus Christ is a part of this thing, So it's a massive film in that way, and it's still so eminently rewatchable. Still works. It's my Easter tradition every year, and so it's one that I have to revere and put in my top 5. So there we go.
Yeah, it's worthy of being in the top 5. It was on my side list. It just didn't make my overall. I don't watch it as often as you do.
Yeah, fair. What's your 4?
4 is my Arthurian, Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Okay, I didn't put it in because it's an absurdist take, but hey, I'm not going to fault you for putting it in at all.
Set before 1776. In no way did it say.
Absolutely.
The time frame just needed to be beforehand. So you can do whatever you want before then. It didn't ask for historical accuracy.
No, you're right.
And that's why Sword in the Stone got cut. It's just like, I'm already doing one. Yeah. So to do another, not absurdist, but an animated take on this.
Yeah.
I'm just going to choose one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it was between this and Life of Brian to make the list.
Oh yeah. Life of Brian would have been a nice choice too.
It's another one, Set is the guy that everybody might think is, Christ.
Right.
And it's not. It's just the dude that lives next door. But I mean, Monty Python, if you like comedy at all, then you've seen the movie.
Of course. Yeah.
It's inevitable. It's one of the ones that everybody tells you to watch, and there's a reason for that. Mm-hmm. And amazingly, it still holds up. And a lot of the things that they were forced into at the time, like the coconuts, because of budgetary reasons, they couldn't afford horses.
Yeah.
So I think it was Terry Gilliam came up with the coconuts. I'm not sure on that who exactly came up with it, but it was just like it's an old radio thing when they did radio plays to make a horse galloping sound. So then just to have, and it really fits into, sometimes the improv feels like it was written. because it's just so true to the nature of the character, the story, everything involved. And I think it's the most accessible of the Monty Python movies.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think it's the best one they've done. And also one that you thoroughly enjoy revisiting over and over again because the humor still works. If you're into this, like the first time you watch it, you could watch it and enjoy it, right? But if you're a person who's actually knowledgeable about this time period or interested in this story, it takes on a whole nother level of humor. And when you watch it over and over again, you can still pick out moments that maybe you didn't catch the first time. I mean, now I laugh at that People's Judea Front, the People's Front of Judea, like the fact that
Life of Brian.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, this Life of Brian. Sorry, in Holy Grail, it's like the constitutional peasant, right? When he's having this conversation about how Arthur became in power, and he's coming from and they're arguing like systems of government.
Well, how does this make sense to choose the leader? They do it more in Life of Brian. Right.
But I mean, this idea, right, that we've bought into this story that, oh, yes, the Lady of the Lake and the sword and, Arthur was chosen. And they absolutely take the piss out of that story. And it is genius to have them going, listen, moistened bints lobbing scimitars is no way or no system of government.
You have to choose a ruler.
All of it throughout is just very, very intelligent, smart humor that doesn't necessarily denigrate the subject matter, but certainly makes you laugh at it when you hear it. So
you're looking at it now through a different lens.
Right, absolutely.
But anyway, it's Monty Python. So if you've never seen it, you're new to movies or something. That is a comedy that is universal. Pretty much everybody. There are the people that don't like it because no movie's 100%, but that reaches the heights. Although I would say you do need to be, a little bit older because the jokes.
Some of the jokes are a little.
Because you'll still get the stupid, silly stuff they do. That's that's ageless.
Right.
But what you just brought up with system of government, whatnot, to have a general social studies understanding, helps as well.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, what do you got it for?
So my 4 then is The Last of the Mohicans. So the punt from earlier.
Okay.
That's a film that I just, the score is phenomenal. Daniel Day-Lewis is great. Madeline Stowe, who I always had a thing for, kind of adds another element to the movie. And the journey he goes on. And by the way, this is a boring ass book to read. I remember reading this shit in high school and bored to tears.
Yeah. James Fenimore Cooper is not the most fun to read in high school.
He really isn't. And then, but what Michael Mann was able to do with this movie was incredible. The visuals of it really works. The war scenes are good. Wes Studi as the villain, as Magua, is so unsettling. His indifferent face to death because of all that he's endured. The way he insults the people he's helping, almost as much as he insults the people he's against. He respects and reveres no one. He's almost like Koba. When you think about Planet of the Apes, he's the Koba, right? No matter what happens, he's never going to get over the fact that these people came over and took their lands from them, and he will carry that bitterness with him no matter what. It's powerful to see that performance from him, and then Russell Means, of course, as what's his face's dad, Chingachgook. Yeah, he's so good throughout as this kind of like paternal, stronger energy throughout the movie, and then as this thing progresses, really is you're just on this adventure with them, and it's nonstop. And I think the cinematography is incredible. I think where Mann puts the camera for some of these sequences really kind of is new and interesting for that time. And it still works now. Like when the Indians, when they're marching away from the fort and the Native Americans rather come through the woods from both sides, and he puts the camera
around them.
From far away to make it feel like, God, how helpless must this situation be when you can see a car accident coming. You know what I'm saying? So it's all of that is just so brilliantly done. So yeah, that's why I love it as much as I do. It's why it's high on my list as it is.
Yeah, Mann did an excellent, the running through the jungle scenes, and when he's pulling off the fire, his gun, the fucking musket, which means its accuracy is dog shit.
Yeah, right.
But I believe it because I don't know. It's the steady hand of the camera and this tracking shot, whatnot. And Day-Lewis just looks so believable, as does everyone else.
Yeah.
As they're doing it. And it's cool to see there was a time when the British were our protectors as colonists here, and it's the French Indian Wars. What's going on? So the France and Native American tribes teamed up to take us out.
Yeah.
Being English settlers, I'm part English, so. But then at the same time, I'm also part Cherokee. So, I'm fighting amongst myself. Still,
it's a hell of a civil war you got, son. It's a hell of a civil war.
At all times. It never ends.
Okay.
Yeah, when he screams, I know we said it before, but I will find you.
Oh,
dude, so hairs on the back of your neck stand up. I will find you.
Stay alive. Yeah.
Exactly. It's taken before taken.
Yeah. Good point. Absolutely. Taken before taken. I actually like that. Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I mean, if you haven't seen it in a while, it's definitely one to revisit and enjoy again.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. Right. And the score, I'm telling you, the score is maybe one of my top 5 favorite scores. Yeah.
It's got those little lilting strings that come in. It's good. It's period specific. Mm-hmm. And yet it works for the beat and the tempos for modern ears.
When they use it to run through the jungle, it's fantastic. That's when great. They're using it to when they're on the boats escaping the attack, it's so well done, man. Just so well done.
And that build when the British officer is also vying for Madeline Stowe's attention.
Yeah.
And he puts, a bullet from how far would you say? 300 yards?
At least. Yeah.
A sniper shot with, at best, that is going to be a rifled barrel, but it's still shooting a round BB.
Yeah.
So there's no way you could be accurate from that distance, and I believe it.
Right. And they have the tragic story with Daniel Day-Lewis's younger Native American brother and Alice, which is Madeline Stowe's younger sister in the movie. Their tragic story and what happens to them. You're just like, oh man. So it's just so good. It's just so damn good. All right, what's your 3, my man?
My number 3 is Gladiator.
Yep, that's my 3 as well.
So I wonder, I know what your number 1 is.
Do you? Okay.
I do.
All right.
It's not hard.
Okay.
Gladiator is great. It's Russell Crowe. some guy last week, I want to say it was Chris Lemke or something.
Yeah.
I'm not entirely sure. And if it wasn't Chris, I apologize. But we got to Dark Knight last week and we were both like, all right, let's combine these because we talked about it. So many times where it's Gladiator, all of my top 3 we've talked about, a number of times.
I think so. Yeah.
So what do you say about Gladiator? I love that fight in the very beginning against the Germanic tribes. That was cool as shit because you've never seen anything like that in movies.
Yeah. Unleash hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas,
carrying the head out from the messenger and lofting that out and then seeing the battle from there is just incredible. It's tough because I think the opening is so good. It's kind of like Private Ryan. I think the opening is so good that it's tough to match that level once things start to happen and the political maneuvering and all of that starts to be a central part of the movie. You miss the kind of fights. You get the gladiator moments and whatever, but it would be nice to see a prequel about Commodus. I'm sorry, not about Commodus. About Max. Is it Max?
Marcus Aurelius?
No, about about his character. What is it? Maximus? Is that his name?
Yeah, Maximus.
Yeah, it would be awesome to see a prequel about Maximus, like all the battles he waged, how he moved into position to be one of the favorites of the emperor. All of that would be fun to explore. Because you don't get after that moment, after that battle, he never really leads a command again in a large scale format.
Of the gladiators within the gladiatorial ring, like he organizes them into a platoon.
Yeah.
When they go out and fight. I agree, but unfortunately that ship has sailed. Crow's too old at this point.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I don't know if somebody taking over for that role would work for me as well. Why not just choose another individual? I guess it has name recognition, but that person is Russell Crowe to me.
I think Tom Hardy would be able to do it. But even Tom Hardy is getting close to that long in the tooth kind of area for something like this.
Yeah, he's probably the same age, if not maybe a couple years older than Russell Crowe was.
Yeah,
which would still work.
Yeah,
you could get away with it.
I think
that's a good casting though. I like Tom Hardy for that.
Would be the only one I would think of. Yeah. All right. What's your 2?
My 2 is your number 1,
which is
Seven Samurai.
Oh, you son of a bitch! You son of a bitch! All right, fair enough.
And I don't know But so Seven Samurai is another movie.
We've talked about
Kurosawa.
it. Yeah.
We have.
We should
It's the first team up movie. It's
Kurosawa.
awesome. I don't know what
Samurai swords.
There's a new video game out that has a Kurosawa mode that makes it feel like I just. Yeah,
go ahead, man. Sorry.
I was going to say I've just heard about it. I haven't played it.
Yeah, Ghost of Tsushima. It's only available for the PS4. And I don't have a PS4 anymore, and I think it may be time to. Someone was like, "Well, buy a refurbished one." Have you been online? They're almost impossible to find, and when they do, they're like $400 now, which is $200 markup. And I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that
for refurbished.
Yeah, for a refurbished one.
How much is new?
The new is like 400, 425, something like that, or 450. The refurbished is like 389 or 390. It's insane. So I'm not paying that much for one of those. I'll wait till the end of the year when the PS5 comes out. Then maybe I can trade in my Xbox One X for that and pay the difference. But no way am I paying.
How old is your Xbox?
Like a year and a half.
Sadly, though, it's worse than a car dealership. As soon as you take that out of the store, it plummets in value.
Yeah, yeah. But GameStop does this thing where you can trade in, like when a new one comes out, if you have the most recent model of any system, you can trade it in for at least 200 or 250 as trade-in value towards. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
All I've ever heard about them is you walk in with that and they just give you a coupon to go fuck yourself. Like you get a pennies, literal pennies on the dollar.
If you walk in with a Nintendo 64, yes. But I mean, if I walk in with an Xbox One X that has 4K capability, they're not going to give me a coupon.
You're going to get store credit for, that's all I've ever heard. I've never done it. I don't know. But online, everybody just talks about how ridiculous they are.
Yeah, because I traded in my old PS4 to buy this one, and they gave me $200 credit towards the new Xbox One X. So it ended up being about 150 or 175 more. So it wasn't bad. But with this one, I'm not going to pay $300 for a PS4 refurbished. So no, I'm good, or $400 or whatever it is. So. But yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, the trailers have been fantastic. The gameplays that are all over YouTube are incredible to watch. I can't wait to get it because it's a samurai game. Mm-hmm. And one of our fans DM'd me and said, "I'll buy you the game as a thank you." And I'm like, cool, but like I don't have anything to play it on. So if a couple other fans want to put in for a refurbished PS4 Pro, knock yourself out. All right. Where are we at now? You're number 1, which is my number 2.
I'm assuming Braveheart.
Yeah, Braveheart. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking of Gibson.
That's true. I hadn't thought about that.
This is another one where you just can't resist it. You can't.
I can't divorce myself from my love of Braveheart.
Yeah. It's one of the most historically inaccurate films.
Yeah. Which should drive me nuts.
Yeah.
Don't care.
Yep.
I didn't know about it going into it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. Right. Just depends on what the story is. But I didn't know who William Wallace was before the movie.
Neither did I. No clue.
Yeah.
No clue.
No.
Yeah.
You know about the huge aristocratic characters. I had heard of Robert the Bruce. That's the best I could tell you. I've never read anything about Robert the Bruce, really. Yeah. I had heard of Longshanks, but I didn't know Longshanks. Yeah. So to take that and in essence create a character out of thin air, and it resonated with me from the moment that I saw it, and still will. Even knowing what I know about the guy, it's still going to get me when he yells freedom. It's still going to make the hairs on the back of my neck stand up because it does every time. Yeah. And I really hope he just shuts up and doesn't do anything else, because I don't want to have my entire love of his movies destroyed. So, Mel, ball's in your court, buddy.
Stop it, Mel. Stop it. I agree with you, man. It's tough to be in that situation and see that shit happening. It just frustrates the living piss out of you, to be honest. But you can't deny how great this film is. This really is. And it's of course was a labor of love for him, and also a very difficult film to shoot. I'm sure it took a lot out of him to do the film. You can watch that scene when he's being led to the torture rack there out for everybody to see, getting pelted with like fruits and potatoes and all that, and you can tell like someone got a little crazy and hit him right in the face, and he actually does go like, so he was willing to take all of that. as part of it. So, as much as you may not like him as a person, and you have every right not to like him as a person, you can't deny how incredible this film is and how incredible he is in the film.
All right, you ready to divvy this up?
Let's put it together.
The 1, 2, 3 is done. It's just a matter of what's 1, what's 2.
Right. Yeah, flip again.
Yeah, I got the coin right here.
Oh, the weighted coin again. I feel like I should pull out a coin.
There are your 2 sides.
Superman and Superman. Oh, interesting. All right.
That look like Superman to you?
Batman and Batman. All right.
Perfect. Hasso said that he had the coins weighted when he gave them to us. He posted on Facebook and said that they are this coin is balanced. So your contention is utterly horseshit.
That's ridiculous. You flipping it in your space is the horseshit part of it all.
Yeah. You're not gonna like the outcome.
See, I knew it 3 times in a row now. What's that tell you, fans?
Statistical anomaly is what that tells you.
You guys know. You guys are with me. I know you're with me. You let Gibson be number 1 on our list? Oof. All right. I will do that under protest.
So we had what? Mohicans 4-6.
Yeah.
So our only commonality left then is what? Mohicans, Apocalypto,
Prince of Egypt.
Well, I would say Mohicans probably next.
Sure.
And Apocalypto is your 10?
10.
So it's 5-10 versus Prince of Egypt is 8-9.
Oof. I feel like we should go. Shouldn't we go to our individual ones?
Well, your next highest is a 4.
No, I already did that with Last of the Mohicans.
Okay, yeah, then I think Apocalypto makes the next. Because that's my 4 and it's also your 10. All right, so Prince of Egypt is the only thing we got left. What do you got next highest?
Ben-Hur at 5.
I'm sorry, Apocalypto was my 5. So 5-10 beats. So Ben-Hur, that beats. So I got my 4, Monty Python.
Okay. Which
Monty, then Ben-Hur, then I would say Prince of Egypt.
Sure.
All right, what's your next highest?
6, Henry V. Okay.
Henry V, and then what's your next highest?
Excalibur at 7.
I got my 7, Spartacus. Are we flipping again?
Yeah, I guess so. Is this 8? Is this for 10?
Yeah, this is for the last spot 10.
Oh, all right.
Sorry, I just dropped that unless you want me to count it, but
only if it says Superman.
It slipped out of my hand. It did not. But I don't think it spun in the air. I think it just landed perfectly flat.
If this goes 4, just for the record, if this goes 4 in a row, we know what's actually happening.
Taking it up in my hand, I don't predetermine what side is on top.
You just have Catherine come in and flip it. That's what I think.
Look away. She's at work.
She's unbiased.
You got that one.
Oh, well. Excalibur ending up on the list. Nice. All right, let's do this thing. Are you ready?
Here we go. Yep.
The top 10 movies set before 1776. Yeah. At number 10.
Excalibur.
Oops. Let me adjust something here. At number 9.
Henry V.
At number 8.
The Prince of Egypt.
At number 7.
Ben-Hur.
At number 6.
Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
At number 5.
Apocalypto.
At number 4.
The Last of the Mohicans.
At number 3.
Gladiator.
At number 2.
7 Samurai.
And our number 1 movie set before 1776 is
Braveheart.
Also a good score for damn sure. I like that score.
So I got Charles's list right in front of me.
Oh yeah. Let's do that.
And he wrote, I now realize that Amadeus appears to take place sometime after 1776. So
it does. It ends at least sometime after.
So he revised his list, and it is at 10, Rosencrantz and Guildenstern are dead.
Guildenstern, yeah.
Oh, I apologize. I misread that. 9, Elizabeth I.
Yeah.
8 is Apocalypto.
Okay.
7 is Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't think it does.
Is that count?
The British, I looked it up. The British and the East India Company existed well into the 1800s.
Okay.
And I don't know that they ever specifically say when it is.
All
so
right.
I don't know. I kept it off my list for that reason. I couldn't pin down where it was.
Fair enough.
6 is A Knight's Tale.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice choice.
Yeah, it's on my side list. 5 is The Seventh Seal.
Ooh, nice. Classic
4,
film like that.
4 is The Witch.
Oh, yeah, good horror film.
3 is Braveheart.
Okay.
2 is Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Okay.
And number 1 is Seven Samurai.
Oh, nice. So at least he's in the Seven Samurai camp. That's good.
Yeah, no Gladiator, though. Interesting.
Yeah, interesting. Okay.
All right, you want to do shout-outs real quick?
Yeah, let's do some shout-outs. All right, you want to start or you want me to start?
It doesn't matter. I got it right in front of me, so I'll go ahead and jump in.
Okay.
This is what you get for $5 and above. We give you a shout-out at the end of every month. So here we go. Chuck Hocking.
Charles J. Clark.
Willie Logie.
James Leggett.
Sunjayanth Fernando. Sam Fernando.
Mike Barrington.
David Mitchell Baker.
Andrew Hayes.
Christos Alexakos.
Hey. Angela Dashner.
Zach Cooper.
Ray Rosh.
Robert Miller.
Paul Cree.
Ryan Payne.
Daniel Bettenhausen.
Philip Hunt.
Ben Archambault.
Colson Koliopoulos.
Nancy Mallory.
Benny Haste.
J. Scotty St. Clair.
Ryan Beachy.
Michael D. Dyke.
Roberto Francisco Suarez or Suarez.
Andrew Marker.
Or Suarez. Brandon Monroe.
Cody Rexford.
Matt Simmons.
Jonathan Caro.
Jeff Kelly.
Joshua Stetz.
Billy Williams.
Daniel McCarty.
Luke Allison.
Keith Fitzgerald.
Mark Fawcett.
Kristen Kurtz.
Bobby Carney.
Zach Butts.
Chris Lemke.
In Love with Movies podcast, Nick Baldwin.
Johanna Linaverta.
Darren Bush.
Bernie Knapp.
Hey-o. Louis Berrigan.
Lawrence Witt.
Steve Schlackemeyer.
Houston Bodily.
Ravi Prasad.
Joe Farrelly.
Mark Menchaca.
Josh Mabry.
Ben Cartwright.
Juan Reyes.
Josh Sachs.
George Menchaca.
Ooh, Eric Bloor.
Andy Tan.
Sean Brennan.
Ed Buzzkirk.
Ellis Menchaca.
Drew Inns.
Robert Haley.
Caleb Young.
Brandon M. Eggleston.
Callie Onken.
Ruben E25.
Michael Ashby.
Edward Wilshire.
Sam Monsalvi.
Francisco J. Torres.
Jimmy Nost.
Hey, Connor Teal.
Jan Villacanazar.
Michael Kelly.
Dominic Greaves.
Frank Montoya.
Blake O'Brien.
Kyle Beckworth.
Jeremy Bowers.
James Petty.
Nick Francis.
Christopher Brockman.
Blake Gaunt.
Kyle Feller.
Haley Morton.
Cameron Chapman.
Marcus Davenport.
Alex Russell.
Matthew Pullen.
Ashley Prowls.
Drew Burkhart.
Scott Zarnecki.
Dylan Johnson.
Jim White.
Gareth Weldon.
JIC 317.
Ahmad Ali.
Pasquale Bulfamonte.
Dan Petraglia.
Christopher McIntyre.
Adelardo Fuente.
Reagan Lovig.
Dylan Bueller Dempsey.
Elijah York.
Roque Oriana.
Keith Archer.
Shane Noble.
Matt Hannigan.
Maurice Robinson.
Ben Quirk.
Michael Schmurr.
Gunnar R.
Nizar Alabasi.
April Rybacki.
Tim Begg.
John Dose.
Cameron Belgrade.
Alex Ramsey.
Dale Varley.
Cody Markham.
Phil Neglia.
Chris Consiglio.
Wayne Murphy.
Edward Dobbins.
Ian Brick Beltran Lopez.
Kevin Fuss.
Brian Akins.
Deborah Torres.
Nicholas Smith.
Jeff Saliba.
Noel Kelleher.
John Keefe.
Kristen Smith.
Marcel Berman.
Dan Nye.
Oh, Dan Nye. Chris Cabrera.
Joey Anthony.
Aaliyah Moore.
Anthony Casanova.
Stephen Westaway.
Hans Eskelson.
Justin Kelly.
Christian Lundgaard Killer.
Dwayne Joseph Burke.
Lachlan Skinner.
Charles Kim.
Joseph Curran.
Fred Castillo.
Albert Wiradharma.
Thomas Clarence.
Zachariah Kaufman.
Jeff Dickin.
Sean LeBeau.
Yohan Williams.
Jody Money.
Tim Reimert.
David Gregson.
Eric Bruin.
Bobby Michael.
Stephen Armstrong.
Stacy Flores.
Cody Seal.
Ian Horner.
Timothy R. Williams.
DJ Red Hat Cox.
There you go. Kyle Spahn.
James Winstead.
Sean Scott.
Josh Lawrence.
Chelsea Lewis.
Rodrigo Valverde III.
Andre Constantinescu.
Catherine Samuels.
Todd Whitkey.
Alan Snuffleupagus Bennett.
Brandon Caridi.
Charlie McKenna.
Jeremy Metz.
Mike Shea.
Blair Simpson.
Josh Murphy.
Nick Dornoff.
Andrew O'Day.
Johannes Schmidt.
Andrew Herbs.
Eric Stevenson.
Evan Zoller.
Thorsten Aumuller.
Jacob Pullen.
Philip Lane.
Jen Kemp.
Hey, Ryan McKenna.
Tim Koskuba.
Alexander Marzonia.
Garth Wizenant.
Dimitri Melot.
Jim Payne.
Scott Kohler.
The Cinephiles.
Ew. Andy Ortiz.
Matthew Lee Cravens.
James Trapani.
Seth Shearer.
Laura Deverson.
Niall Blackie.
Matt Yund.
Chris Jones.
Luke Larson.
And finally, Julian Key.
Hey, Julian Key. Nice stuff.
Thank you to everybody that supports us over at patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10. Look forward to the golden ticket coming out in the very, very near future. And you can follow me anywhere at Matt Nost, MATTKNOST.
Yeah, you can follow me at The Roca Says on Twitter and on Instagram. And hey, don't forget to sign up for or subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You can go there, youtube.com/the top 10 podcast. Is that correct, Matt? With the number 10? Number 10 there. So go and find that and subscribe if you like watching our pretty faces talking about movies. Or if you want to see more from me, you can go to my YouTube page, youtube.com/John Roca Says or Johnny Kane 70. Apparently both addresses work. So go and take a look at that as well. Just interviewed Christian Harloff for the Outlaw Nation show. So if you want to enjoy 2.5 hours listening to the chairman of the Schmodown, feel free to do so. But don't forget our show coming up here for the patrons. Matt, are only the patrons able to watch this, or this for everybody, this show? The golden ticket.
No, this is open for everybody. Only the patrons that signed up by July 1st at the Chimp Strong and Boss Hog tiers are participating, and there's a lot of them. We're going to have these shows once again for a while. We hope you enjoy them. Yeah. You fucking better. But everybody will be able to listen in. Just like the relist before, you could watch it, you could listen, but you couldn't participate unless you were a patron member.
Right.
So we hope you dig it and get you through another day of quarantine wherever you are. And if you're somewhere that's a lot outside, congratulations. We hope you take us on your commute and you're back to your normal routine. And I think that's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. We'll talk to you guys next time for another episode of the Top 10 Show.
Thank you for being a fan. The golden ticket is your plan. You want a guest, now you've got to win it all. And it's our way of saying a big thank you to the patrons for playing. Boss Hog and Tim Strong, fight to the death.